What is up, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Pez's Picks. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by the man with the picks as we get you ready for Super Bowl 59, Eagles, Chiefs. Pez, what's up?
Jeff, we're painted in our South Philly tuxedos. It's Eagles fever. I'm heading to Philly Friday. I'll be there all weekend. Coming back to the mothership at the beach for the game. You got to relax for the game. Yeah, I don't know about you, Jeff. I'm anti Super Bowl party unless it's teams I don't care about, which
Right.
you've acknowledged you don't care about these teams, which I understand. But for this Birds game, I think you got to keep it light on the alcohol. You got to stay calm. You got to focus on the game. It's KT Smith, our colleague, for a fellow Steelers fan.
Yep.
It was torture for him to go with the FFSN family to the Eagles Steelers game. He said I can't watch the game. There's too much yelling. There's too much foul language, and he's an X's and O's guy. So I appreciate that. We got to stay calm, Jeff. I've been calming myself down all week, and I can't wait. Something's got to give. I mean, that we want to title this podcast "Something's Given," Jeff. We've got some shocking numbers. All right, I'm nervous. I'm going to admit it. I'm like that guy from the classic '80s movie. Go ahead and call me an old guy if you want, but when the pilot, the star, whatever his name is, he's mopping sweat away, Jeff. I've been doing it all week. The more I look at this game, it seems impossible. Mahomes is I had to look at this 3 times, Jeff. Mahomes is 3-1 in Super Bowl career when going down by double digits in the bowl. All other quarterbacks in history are 4-48. Who is this guy, Jeff? We got to check this man. Is he an extraterrestrial? Now we got something for the Birds. Saquon averaging 147 yards rushing a game, over 114 of 19 games this year, 5 straight 100-yard or more rushing games. Now we get to the bad stuff. Chiefs, 18 straight without a 100-yard rusher. Spagnuolo has never allowed a running back to rush over 100 in a playoff game. I think Lamar did it, but that's a quarterback. Something's given, Jeff. Something's given. I think Birds were beating history. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. We're coming in. The line has shifted. It's down to 1. We put it out, I don't know, what was it, 10 days ago at 1.5. I hope people got on it. The data is still there. When you really look at the data and you get over the fandom, red zone efficiency, the Eagles have dominant red zone efficiency numbers, scoring touchdowns and preventing scores and touchdowns, offense and defense, compared to the Chiefs. Of course, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. You got the – I'm going to say it, Jeff. Patrick Mahomes, greatest quarterback in NFL history. I'm giving it to him already. I'm giving it to it. Tom Brady, I'm putting him at number 2. I'm going to put that out there right now. Go ahead, blast me, whatever you want. Patrick Mahomes, that 3-1 stat of winning Super Bowls when you're down double digits, I mean, what? That's ungodly. But he's got to come back down to earth. I've got another theory, Jeff. This week, the Chiefs, every headline, it's got nothing to do with the game. Oh, Mahomes is bringing his baby. Oh, Taylor, are you going to marry her at halftime? What happened to talking about the game? The Birds are focused. They ask Jalen Hurts questions, and we call them Jalenisms around here. He doesn't even speak, Jeff. I don't even know what the hell that guy's talking about. Silent warrior. I think the Birds are going to be more focused. I think the Chiefs, they're too Hollywood, Jeff. They're too Kardashianed out. Let's calm down. Let me back up.
You need to calm down. My gosh, we're almost 5 minutes in, and I don't think you took a breath. Like, calm down, man. Let's get through this one at a time. As you just stated, and I was going to bring this up anyways to start the show, the line has shifted slightly to the Eagles just getting 1. We had 1.5 last week. That's pretty much standard. I mean, that's pretty status quo. What's really interesting to me, and it depends on the book you're looking at, it used to be, as of last week, you wanted to take the Birds on the money line, you were getting plus odds. Now, nothing is plus odds. Everything is minus, even money line bets, even over-under bets, even with the spread bets, both ways. Very interesting to see how things have shifted a little bit. What does that tell you, if anything, about the game?
So I checked a couple books. I've got Birds 60, 70% action coming in on the Birds, and that line hasn't moved a lot. That scares me a little, Jeff. That scares me. Are we getting lured into something? You got to look at it as a gambler. Of course, I'm bleeding green, but that scares me a little bit. Do they know something? Of course they know something. We got questions. Why wouldn't we take the money line when you're only getting 1.5? The last 2 Super Bowls the Chiefs won were by 3 points, I believe. So, historically, Chiefs are playing close games. I mean, this whole season they've won close games. I think it's a reflection of their offense not being as dynamite as they used to be, and their defense being great. So when you're getting 1.5 points with a team that you punch the data, which we have, our system has the Birds should be a 4 to 6 point favorite. So when you're getting a free 1.5 and you think you should be laying at least a touchdown or a field goal or more, you take that, even though we're laying 10. Well, at the time we put it out, we were laying 110 to win 100. Contrary to taking the money line, we're only making $5. At the time we put this play out, money line was plus 105. So as my old sage, gambling, expert colleague, the Yogi says, you take the advantage when it's there. 1.5 is a large amount of points in a close game, right? I mean, you could lose the game theoretically and still cover. So we're going to keep that. I would still take the point, and I think when you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to argue the greatest ever, and Andy Reid, who I'm going to say, maybe the greatest coach ever. I mean, this guy's an amazing coach. You take points when you get them, and I don't think there's an argument that the Birds have a better roster, almost at every position except quarterback. We've talked about this a lot. Jalen Hurts, not Patrick Mahomes. Very similar in style, though. They're both incredibly intelligent quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, second highest winning percentage since 2021, counting playoffs. Mahomes and Jalen Hurts are the only two quarterbacks since 2021 to have 70% or higher winning percentage. I believe Jalen's closing in on 72%, and Mahomes is up there in like 77% or 78%. So that tells me that Jalen Hurts is a way better quarterback than he's been getting beat up on this season, and it improves our chances going into this game. When we look at history, Jalen Hurts this year didn't throw the ball a lot. A couple games he did. He did last playoff game 2 weeks ago. Jalen Hurts' two best throwing games in his career, regular season and one in the postseason, over 300 yards passing, were both against the Chiefs. So there is a lot of data in history favoring the Birds. I think if he doesn't drop that ball or whatever hell happened in the last Super Bowl, they probably win it. So it's going to be a great game, Jeff. Without a doubt, we have the two best NFL teams, and we are just pumped to get this thing going. I look at these tea leaves and I follow all this crap. We're watching everything, the media week, everything. The Birds seem more focused, Jeff, and a lot of talk, a lot of lip service out of the Chiefs, and to us, that usually spells doom for that team. I don't remember the Chiefs having this much drama around them. The Taylor Swift stuff last year, they quieted down. They're celebrating now, right? So I think the more focused team, the more talented team should win the Super Bowl. And, we're not talking about Mahomes going up against the 15th, 16th best quarterback. I'm going to say Jalen Hurts, he's a top 5 guy. I mean, I judge quarterbacks by winning ball games, not by stats, throwing or running, whatever you got to do to win. And this guy's a proven winner. And I'd say the Birds, that line is still favoring the Birds to win. I wouldn't be shocked if it drops to even. I wouldn't be shocked if it moves Eagles laying a half a point or a point.
So for those that might be listening to this and maybe missed last week's podcast, like you can go back and listen to last week's show, and as you dive into all the numbers and your thoughts and your analytics on why you are taking the Eagles in this play. But today we wanted to talk about prop plays, and this is something you started to sprinkle out there on your social media channels at Pez's Picks on both Twitter and Instagram. What are some of the prop plays? Because I'm really curious how you're going to approach these. Because last year we did a whole slew of prop plays. But I'm curious what you have, because so far all the prop plays have been freaking green, and we can't pretend like there's not a team in red that has won 2 straight Super Bowls and is a really good football team as well. So I'm curious what your prop plays are.
And I'm not positive, Jeff. We're putting out so many videos and plays. I believe we put out Bucker for the Chiefs over 7.5 points at minus 114. I believe we did. We might put it back out again. I love that play. Great kicker, and what we think is going to happen with this game, what the numbers are producing in our algorithm, Chiefs are going to move the ball without a doubt. They're going to struggle to score in the red zone. They're going to have to settle for field goals more than touchdowns. When you look at their red zone efficiency, I mean, that's been a protocol for them this entire season. So that's one Chiefs play. We put out another Chiefs play yesterday. Kelsey over 70 yards. I don't understand how this line's coming out, Jeff. Plus 146. We'll put them at 80 at plus 225. So, if all goes as planned, and the Philadelphia Eagles play the type of defense they have, which the Chiefs have not faced this year, They have not faced a D line like this. They have not faced a defense like this. Though Mahomes has great numbers against Fangio, but that's erroneous, Jeff. That's neither here nor there. Different team. O-line for the Chiefs. I mean, they're average at best. They've been down a guy for 2 months. They can't replace him. Look for Mahomes to be under pressure like he hasn't seen. But one thing that the Eagles defense is going to allow, they play this kind of drop zone. They call it an umbrella zone. There's going to be underneath options. I mean, Kelsey should be open, 5-6 yard clicks. The Eagles, I'm going to put it out there, best tackling team in the league. Almost never do they let a guy break a tackle. So look for Kelsey to get a lot of action. If Kelsey's catching passes and not wide receivers, I believe that's an Eagles formula to win this game. They're going to give him passes to get in the red zone. Then it's going to get tough, right? In the red zone, it's tough to have underneath openings. Things get tighter. You have smaller field. So I love Kelsey over 70 plus 146, over 80 at plus 225. Arguably the best receiver in Super Bowl history, right? This guy's amazing. Whatever's going on with Taylor, neither here nor there. A prop play that we're not going to take. And, why are we not taking Chiefs prop plays, Jeff? I don't think offensively the Chiefs are a good team to bet. When you look at their numbers, they don't score a lot of points. When you look at their numbers, they're not lighting them up. And I read someone else's system. They have 230 yards as the mark for Mahomes to hit to win the game. And I think that's something that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to make it very difficult to do. The one indicator that we're looking at a lot, anytime touchdown scores, and I was talking about it with a defensive coordinator, a kind of legendary college D3 Hall of Fame guy, Jeff. So I talked about him. I said Saquon Barkley right now, anytime touchdown score minus 190, Jalen Hurts minus 115. Everybody else on the field is getting positive money to score a touchdown. Kelsey plus 125, Kareem Hunt plus 145, Worthy plus 150. So that tells us, without a doubt, Vegas expects Saquon and Jalen to score, and they're not sure about the Chiefs scoring. So I in a visionary Pez's Picks way, Jeff, we're seeing Birds over 30 points. I'm seeing the Chiefs around 20 points for the game. I'm seeing a double-digit win. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think the indicators are all showing, unless the Birds and Jalen turn that ball over, 2 to 4 times, I think they're going to win this game handily, and I think it's going to be a knockout blow. And we're seeing it, Jeff. We're seeing it. The data's there. We're seeing it.
Well, let me. You're viewing, and numbers can tell a narrative, and we can shape those narratives how we want based on those numbers. And you have definitely shaped the anytime touchdown score odds into the narrative the Eagles are going to roll. I could also make the case that the Chiefs' offense is more versatile when they get in the red zone, and therefore it's more difficult for them to pinpoint who's going to score the touchdown. Let's be honest. When it gets inside the 10-yard line for the Eagles, one of two guys is going to score a touchdown. It's Saquon or it's Jalen. Like, come on. Like, it's not going to be. Yeah, you could go with A.J. Brown at plus 165, according to DraftKings. That's what I'm looking at right now. Or Devonta Smith at plus 240. But let's be honest. The odds are like you're going to do the tush push to get it Jalen Hurts in, or you're going to run it up the gut with Saquon Barkley.
Sure. And no disrespect to the Chiefs, of course. Their defense is solid, one of the best. Their D-line's solid. Goddard should be open on a lot of plays, our tight end. Yeah. Devonta Smith, who we're gonna mention in a prop play coming up, the team he lights up the most is the Kansas City Chiefs. You can take AJ, you could take Goddard, you could take Saquon. We've got another blue chip wide receiver, Alabama guy. Devonta Smith could enter a rare field of guys that won a state championship in high school, a national championship in college, the Heisman, and the Super Bowl. I believe there's 5 or 6 guys that have done that, and he's there. No one's talking about him, Jeff, and that's why we're jumping on him as well. Regarding the Chiefs and why we think that this team is going to struggle to score points, the entire season, they're averaging 22 a game, meaning half of their games, they came in below 22 points. They have not played a defense like the Philadelphia Eagles, the number 1 defense in the league, only giving up 17 a game. I think that mark we're going to hit that mark. And I can't see the Chiefs lighting this team up. I just can't see it, Jeff. The weapons aren't there for them this year. Their receiving core is weak. Their running game is weak. Their O-line is weaker than anything. So Kelsey, Mahomes, we know what they're going to do. But at the end of the day, a D-line pressuring Mahomes, when he isn't hitting passes, when he's not throwing for over 200 yards, that team struggles. Now, the one thing that we're worried about, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. In the regular season, he averages 3.9 rushes a game, about 20 yards a game. In 18 playoff starts, 5.4 average rushes a game, 29 yards a game. So the one thing, and this guy's the best. Could Mahomes run for 60, 80 yards? Could he break out and play like a Lamar style game plus throw for 230? Of course. But we think that the Eagles, they know that. I think Fangio's seen everything, and I like the averages, I like the data points, and I see an Eagles 10-point or higher victory.
The thing is about the Chiefs' regular season stats, which are accurate, and you're not making those up. Their defense has been so good. I don't think the offense has really had to go out and do big things in terms of let's really push the ball down the field. I saw a different Chiefs team against the Bills last week, or last time they played the AFC Championship game. Even against the Texans, they seem to be airing it out a little bit more. And I don't want to underscore Andy Reid and his ability to scheme up an offense, giving him 2 weeks to do so. I think that the first half of this game is going to be very intriguing. And will the Chiefs be able to have some wrinkles and some plays, maybe for a Xavier Worthy, who, if you get him in space, he is dangerous because he's just that fast. I'll be really curious to see this first half. But when I think about it, the more I think about it, the more I hear you talk, and I hear Kevin Smith talk when we did the NFL whip round on our FFS and NFL feed, is I think this could be a high scoring affair. Now, the total is 48.5. Where are you leaning in that regard?
I think we're going to hit the over, and I think the Birds are going to be in the 30-plus point range. I think the Birds come out in the first half. At halftime, I think they have a 2-score lead. And, of course, Mahomes does Mahomes things in the second half, and I think that's going to be the test. The one weakness we've seen with the Birds, there were 2 flops this year where we had big leads. We kind of got into that old term, the prevent defense, or whatever you call it, a little more conservative. There was a little less pressure on the quarterback. One was against the Commanders, and I'm forgetting about the other one right now, but earlier in the season. But we gave up big leads. That's a one concern, and of course, like we talked about, Mahomes is 3-1 coming back from double-digit deficits in Super Bowl. So that's the albatross, that's the white buffalo that we're worried about. But when you look at the data, the Birds defense comes in. I mean, it's going to be very difficult for them to move the ball. They're giving up 192 passing yards a game. When we look at Mahomes in offense, he's averaging about 238 a game. So if the Birds can keep in around 200 or less, I don't see how they're going to be scoring points. 2 years ago when we lost, there was a player on their team, McKinnon, I believe was his last name. This kid, he lit us up, Jeff. This guy was, was a kind of receiver, running back hybrid dude. Not playing in this one. Could Worthy be that guy? I have less confidence that a rookie wide receiver is going to change the Super Bowl, but it's possible. That kid's lightning fast. I love our chances, Jeff, and the data's there for it. We're experienced. We've been there. Jalen Hurts is a super experienced playoff quarterback. Something's got to give, though. I believe he and Mahomes right now are both setting the NFL record of the longest amount of playoff games without interceptions. I think they're at 7 or 8 respectively each. So something's going to give. Let's get into it, Jeff. Let's get into these prop plays. We got
for it.
So one we put out and one that I love, Birds over 2.5 sacks plus 134. I think that is the strongest prop play we've seen in a long time in the playoffs, a long time in the Super Bowl, rather. Birds, not a blitzing team, but their defensive line, Carter, this defensive line is ungodly. I haven't seen one since Buddy Ryan when we had Jerome Brown and Reggie White. I think we're knocking on the door of that kind of dominance. When we think Mahomes is going to be running a lot, that increases chances for sacks. Mahomes was sacked 36 times in 2024. That's a large number of sacks, averaging about 2 a game. So 2.5, I love our chances in hitting that. He's going to have to hold the ball and hope that guys get open. That is our number one prop play that we've put out so far. Devontae Smith averages 6.7 catches, 107 yards a game against Spagnuolo and the Chiefs. Arguably one of his best teams, maybe his best. Devontae Smith over 60 yards receiving, plus 144. Over 70, plus 225. And I love this one, Jeff. Over 80, plus 325. I think Devontae has a big day. He's a quiet kind of assassin in these playoff games. a guy that would be a wide receiver 1 on many teams. He's a 2. And, not a guy that talks a lot. He doesn't care about stats. He's not reading books like A.J. Brown begging for the ball. That kid is patient, crisp run router, and a lot of speed. And I love Devontae catching balls in this game.
Okay. Is that it?
We've got Kelsey over 70 yards. I believe we talked about that, plus 146.
Butker 7.5
over 7.5 points. Jeff, I don't know where this one's coming from. A.J. Brown to score a touchdown anytime, plus 175. Fantastic number there. I think A.J. Brown, this is a game that this kid's going to – he's got to get the ball, right? I mean, and he's been well-behaved this year. We haven't had drama on the team. A.J. Brown scored a touchdown, plus 175. Jeff, now we're getting into some crazy ones, Jeff. We have to do this, right? You got to have fun.
You have to.
Opening kickoff to be returned for a touchdown. 17,000. This is Kevin Malone from The Office, Jeff. His rule is when you get 10,001 odds, you take it. We're at plus 17,000, so we're at 1,700 to 1 odds. You could put $1 on this play to win 170. I'll take that any day of the week, Jeff. Right? $1. I was talking about with a colleague of mine, a young lady today, and she said, so if I put a penny, I could win $17. I believe that's correct, Jeff. The numbers are going crazy in my head, but $1 to win 170, a fantastic number there. I can't remember his name right now. Kansas City's got a great kick returner. The kid's been lighting it up. And Andy Reid's notoriously a fantastic special teams coach. So this is the one fear. Special teams touchdown. Interception return for a touchdown. These are splash plays that could alter the game. So I'm hoping this one, if it's the Eagles, great, but I'm hoping the Chiefs don't. But we'll take those odds. Defense to record most interceptions. Plus 210. We're taking the birds on that all day, Jeff. I think Mahomes is going to be under more pressure. Our D-line is better. I'm just going to say it right now. He's got less weapons. He's got Kelsey, but then he's got a rookie. He's got some journeymen. I think birds plus 210 to have more picks in this game. Fantastic number right there. And, at some point, the odds got to come around, right? At some point, and one of these guys is going to throw a pick. Him or Hurts has to throw a pick. I'm going to say it's going to be Mahomes. Both teams to make a 33-yard field goal. Yes. At about even odds. We're taking it at minus 105. I love that number, Jeff. And both defenses are great. 33 yards. Jeff, I was a soccer guy. Believe it or not, I with Coach KT Smith, I was a kicking coach for a while. I'd go out there at 50 years old and boot a 40-yarder. So, Elliott, of course, he's been rough. I don't know what the hell's wrong with that guy. Maybe needs some steroids or something. But him and Butker, 33 yards. That's a chip shot. I love that number. That seems like a gimme to me. A fantastic number. Kicking is going to be big in this one. Hopefully the birds are scoring touchdowns. We're not going to rely on Elliott because he's been a little shaky.
Yeah, there's some fun plays. Like if you're someone that's listening to this and you don't really have a dog in the fight in terms of the teams and you just want to have some fun, like you can, I'm looking at, like I said, DraftKings right now. You can bet on the coin toss. You can do special teams miscues. For instance, you can bet if a kick hits an upright. It doesn't matter if it goes in or not, but if it hits an upright, that's plus 550 for the yes. If it hits the upright, will there be a blocked punt? If it's yes, it's plus 1,800 odds. Like, I mean, you could have some fun with this if you want.
You can, and you know what? These are plays, and I don't know if you do them, Jeff, but I have friends that put these kind of polls out where you have 20 or 30 of these questions, and now you're putting some serious money on them, whether it be a casino or online. We've got a fun one, Jeff, and it'll lead us into our golf conversation. Birds to win the game, and either Tom Kim or Sahith Theegala to win the Waste Management Phoenix Open at plus 4,000. Fantastic, Jeff. Fantastic. I mean, Tom Kim and Sahith, I think this Phoenix, Scheffler, of course, is a different guy. He'll probably win. But Tom Kim, Sahith, they're energetic, young dudes, crisp iron play. You need crisp iron play to win in this Waste Open. And plus, I think you got to be a young guy. You can't be bothered by people throwing beers at you and stuff. And Kim and Sahith, both guys knocking on the door. Tom Kim comes into this season, I believe his swing speed's up to 185, 190 even. Kid's got more pop on the bat. His iron game was tight last week. Do I have to change the channel when he's lining up for a shot? Of course, Jeff. This guy's Sergio Garcia reincarnated. It takes like 2 minutes to hit a shot. Having said that, a great player. I think in this setting, you got to be more of a jock to win the Phoenix Open. Sahith and Kim kind of have that kind of Tony Finau thing about them, where they're more than just a country club golfer. They're young kids, right? So
Yeah.
I love that, and of course we love the birds. Plus 4,000. Kim, Sahith, birds win combination. That's our combo sport prop play of the week.
Well, we'll transition into golf quickly about the last 5 minutes of the show here. And, this weekend, it being the Waste Management, it is the rowdy crowd out there in Scottsdale. And last year they had many arrests, and the rain came and people were sliding down the hill. They were drunk as hell. And rumors already I'm seeing on social media in the golf realm is that security has been amped up. We'll put it that way. They're not expecting to have the shenanigans they did last year, people running on the greens and stuff. And you can't have that. Like, if you want to drink some beers and have a good time, that's fine. They have a stadium hole for a reason, the 16th, but still you can't be disrupting play. Nonetheless, Scotty Scheffler, man, when was the last time you saw a golfer that wasn't named Tiger Eldrick Woods that was plus 280 to win a freaking tournament outright?
I mean, the guy's incredible, Jeff.
He is.
An average putter at best. He's got to be from tee to green. He's got to be a top 3, top 5 guy. He's got to be. I mean, he's average. I don't even know if he's an average putter, right? I mean,
he's improved a lot in his putting. His putting has gotten a lot better.
His putting, he was. I mean, he should have won last week by 10 shots, right? So we'll see. And we talked a little bit off air. I look for guys, and this, we saw a little bit of this Scheffler last year when the poor guy gets arrested and does yoga and then comes back, had a great week. The next week he kind of exhaled and had a rough week. I think we could see the same thing. He was coming in on adrenaline high after wrist surgery, which, Jeff, I got questions about this.
That was his hand. It wasn't his wrist. It was his hand.
Or who gets glass broken up into their hand? Was it cooking?
No. Well, he told you. Did you hear how he did it?
It's sus, Jeff, as the young kids are saying.
Oh my gosh! No, listen. He used a wine glass which had a stem. He was trying to cut dough to make homemade ravioli. They were not at his house, so they didn't have the tools. He pushed down, and the wine glass broke, and the stem went into his hand.
Jeff, I'm calling sus because that wine stem. I've done Pez's Picks has done some bartending too. Wine glasses break. You're not getting shards of glass from a wine stem. Apparently, they had to go in and do an intricate surgery at broken pieces. I'm thinking domestic issues, Jeff. I'm just going to say, right? What's going on there? You get glass in your hand as a man, you're throwing a glass, you're breaking something, you're angry about something.
You've been following Tiger Woods for way too long, man.
Dustin Johnson falling down the stairs of the Masters. Give me a break, Jeff. That guy was drunk off his ass, and he went down swinging or whatever the hell.
I don't think he was drunk. I think it was high on some other stuff. But that's
possible. There's a record for that too. I love Chef though. I'm gonna pull that comment, Jeff. A good family man. But that's sus. Maybe a couple too many glasses or something, a little tumble. I think Scheffler, he comes in this week. I think we're going to see a little bit less Chef of the Scheffler this week. At least we're hoping based on our plays.
Yeah, and then we talked about this. Maybe we'll do this next week. I mean, with golf, because next week we'll be gearing up for the Genesis Invitational, which has been moved to Torrey Pines due to the fires in L.A., that's Tiger's tournament, the Genesis, and rest in peace to his mom who just passed away. But still, we'll talk about how golf gambling has changed a lot. You don't just have to pick the outright winner anymore, and you can win some money with some pretty good odds if you follow these players and you follow the tour. Something I do every single week on my press podcast on Fairways and Dreams. So we'll talk about that next week. We'll see how the Waste Management goes. I've got Scotty at plus 280 with a long shot. I agree with you. Tom Kim plus 3,000.
I love Tom Kim plus 3,000. When you look at it, he's not too far down the board, right? I mean, Scheffler's coming in with such dominance. You're getting good odds on pretty much everybody from that guy. I love Kim. This kid has the game. He's got the moxie of a potential major winner. And, these young guys, they love this Phoenix Open. They love the Caddyshack too. They love the Happy Gilmore kind of feel to it. I mean, it's not going to be quiet. And, Kim, we saw, was great in the President's Cup, so this kind of setting fits his game. I've got another one, Jeff. Rasmus Højgaard, plus 5,000. That guy's winning the tournament this year. Just the name alone, Jeff. What is that name? That sounds like some sort of Icelandic fish dish or something. So we're taking Rasmus Højgaard. Love his game. He came out of nowhere. I love him. And, we like Thigala. I believe I'm correct, Jeff. He lost a year or two ago in a close finish. And the guy cried with his family. Very emotional time. I got a little emotional, Jeff. I said, this guy cares about his game. A shot maker beyond belief. He's got a Tiger Woods kind of vision of the game. He can move the ball any direction, which you kind of need. You want a guy that's a shot maker who wants to show off for the crowd. I love Thigala. I love Kim. And Rasmus Højgaard, I don't even know. Maybe this guy doesn't even know where he's going to be. It's Arizona, Jeff, and that's a weird state. So this kid's going to go in there and maybe have some Icelandic fish, and we like him at 5,000 too.
I'll tell you a guy that I have as a top 20 pick. Go with if you it's only plus 220, so not great odds, but you can still win a bet if you want. Ricky Fowler to finish in the top 20 because he's been playing better golf this year. Like his scores are better, he's scoring better, he's more consistent. He loves playing at the waste management. He puts on like jerseys and stuff on the stadium hole, and he hypes up the crowd. He loves it. If he continues to play well, I think a top 20 bet is a safe bet. Again, plus 220 odds if you want to try and go try your hand at some of the other bets out there in the game of golf. But
love Ricky's chances. I believe he's back with Butch Harmon and his son, which is a phenomenal choice for that guy. I don't know what the heck he was doing when he left, but another guy, an older version of Kim Sahith, guy wants to get in this kind of athletic feel. Ricky Fowler, a champion motorcycle guy growing up. So this kid's got balls, Jeff. So you got to have cojones to win this waste management. You got to be able to play under pressure with people shouting profanities and throwing beers at you. Love it. Not to turn the page on golf, Jeff, but we have one last kind of long-term play here. It's something, we're going to run out of time here. We'll talk about it next week. The dumbest trade in the history of sports, Jeff. Luka Doncic. I'm going to tell you the best player in the league. He is the best fat player in the league. I'm going to say he's a better fat guy than even Charles Barkley. He is Magic Johnson reincarnated. Well, what the hell were they thinking letting him go? Of course he wants to get paid. What, he's fat? No kidding. If a couple guys would have helped him a little more, he would have won it all last year. Lakers to win it all, plus 2,000. We're taping Wednesday. You hear this Thursday morning, get it in. Rumors, Lakers are getting another guy. Who's it going to be? I don't know, but they need a little bit. They need a big. I'm hoping they get Jimmy Butler from Miami. That would be a fantastic trio. Maybe a journeyman big guy. Look for the Lakers to make a push to win a championship this year. I think plus 2,000 is a discount. They're going all in. This is LeBron. I mean, this could be it, right? So they got between Doncic and LeBron, we're already at 50 points. So they bring in Butler. We're at 75, and you throw some 4, 5, 6 guys off the bench in there, put another 50 points, and they're winning ball games, Jeff. So we love Doncic. Showtime begins Saturday. Hoping the calf is okay, whatever that means. Jeff, these guys don't play.
I know.
NBA, they're not playing until the All-Star break now. So we've been patient to start laying the wood on that sport. We're going to get into it after this week. Of course, we have to. What else is there to bet on? We got golf. We got basketball. We got March Madness. We got a lot of good things coming, Jeff.
That's right. We'll have everything covered for you. But Pez, enjoy the game, man, and we will talk next week. Hopefully, you're not depressed.
I hope, Jeff. I hope I'm not in hiding. I hope, but I have good feelings, and I'm seeing green, Jeff. Go Birds. Calm down a little bit. You can't start drinking early. I got friends telling me they're going to parties at 9 a.m. They're not going to remember the game. Hold off on the alcohol. Let's enjoy the game. Let's make it a family event, Jeff. Let's do this. Let's go Birds.
There you go. Well said, Pez. Enjoy the game, man. We'll talk next week. Take it easy.
Later.